And Stephen K. Peeples here, and I'm talking with guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist Jeff Jourard. He's originally from Gainesville in north central Florida, and he made it to LA in the mid-70s. He played on the first Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album in 1976, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and Jeff co-founded the Motels with Martha Davis. The band also included his brother Marty when they signed with Capitol in 1979. And Jeff co-wrote the album's big international hit Total Control with Davis. And Jeff soon went on to other pursuits. And fast forwarding a few years or a few decades to 2023, he joined up with the reconstituted Hollywood Stars. It was the hell-raising pop metal band founded by controversial LA rock impresario and producer Kim Fowley back in 1973.
Yep.
Well, today the Hollywood Stars are founding members Scott Fairs on vocals and Terry Ray on drums, longtime bassist Michael Rummins, and guitarist George Keller, who also came on board in 2023. They recorded a new album titled Starstuck. It's out in mid-June 2024, and it's all blazing guitars and thundering backbeats. And here is the cover with all of those guys on the cover, and there you go.
Yep.
Very good. So tell me, we can get into all of the sordid history a little bit later, Jeff, but let's talk about the Hollywood Stars first. How did you hook up with these guys, and when, and what were the circumstances, and why did you decide to throw in with them?
Well, a little background. When I first arrived in LA, it was the end of 1972. It was glam and pop rock, Bowie, Iggy, Platform Shoes, all of that stuff. And I felt, I fell right into it, and then moved on from there. At a certain point, went, okay, I had enough of that. I want to do something new. And what's interesting about the Hollywood Stars is that they're derived from that time period. It's not it's not an oldies act, but it's as if they never quit, right?
Right.
And so after going all the way around the track, I find myself back playing the kind of hard rock guitar I did when I first landed. So it's kind of cool. It's like the return of Saturn, I think it's called, where you kind of start over after 40 years, something like that. And the way I got in was kind of weird. I was looking for a demo online of multi-effects units for guitar. Thing goes on the floor. And I found a good one. And so I'm watching it. And after a certain point, I went, well, that's cool about the unit. Never mind that. Who's this guitar player? He's really good. So I messaged him, and we started going back and forth with technical questions, and he's as nuts as I am about equipment. So it was like a perfect storm. We took off.
Total gearhead.
Nerds to the nth degree. And so that turned into, well, dude, where do you live? We should get together. This sounds like fun. So it turns out he lived, I don't know, half a mile from me. We probably crossed in traffic every day for 10 years and never knew it. So I go over there, and, we're having a blast. We're jamming and comparing pedals and sounds, and do you have this, and that. And after a while, he says, I wonder if you'd be interested to check out this band that I just joined. It's fun. It's like good old classic rock. Why don't you come to a rehearsal and see if you like it? So I did. I liked it. And apparently they liked me because they asked me back. And on the second rehearsal, they had a photographer there. He took a whole bunch of pictures. I mean, I did get a note that said, wear some dark clothes. So I did. And on the second day, I'm in the pictures. That's on the cover of the CD you just held up. And at that point, I went, well, looks like I'm in the band. I guess that makes it official. And that's how it happened.
That first rehearsal, did you plugged in with them? Obviously, what kind of stuff were you playing? What clicked?
Oh, it was just the chance to play good old grinding Marshall rock guitar. Been a long time.
Crank it to 11.
Yep, the kind of Leslie West tone, haven't been able to get in that saddle in a long time. Feels great.
Well, I think that's one of the things that I really like about the new record is the big fat guitar sound.
Yeah.
So between you were talking about, you were referring to your guitar partner George Keller there a moment ago. So between the two of you, you're handling all the guitar parts on the album. So who's playing what? First of all, since you're such a gearhead, and we probably have guitar players, checking us out, tell us what your rig is and what George's rig is, and then talk a little bit about how you guys divvied up the guitar parts between the rhythm and the lead parts.
Well, the remit for me joining the band was, if you don't mind playing rhythm, we really need a solid rhythm player. So I went, okay, yeah, I'm down with rhythm. Less work for Mother, Yay. Because in so many of the other bands, all of that housekeeping and all that work fell to me, and it's a lot of upkeep. So George was and is the nominal lead guitar player. We split it up sometimes, like, here, you take this one, but he does most of the melodic work.
Right.
Gear wise, it's been a moving target. It started out, I just brought something convenient and easy to the first rehearsal, which was a good drive pedal and Katana 50, little Boss Katana 50. And by the third rehearsal, it became obvious, like, I'm going to need something with a little more horsepower than that.
What kind of guitar are you playing?
Oh, I picked a Les Paul Special that had P90s in it. And once I got in the rehearsal room and we cranked up the gain and the volume, the hum was so bad with the single coil pickups, I realized I was going to have to do something about it, because I could only stand at one position at one angle without it just going. Now, if I found that magic spot and didn't move, it was usable, but that's not practical.
No.
So what I ended up doing was putting in Mojo Tone quiet coils, because I read that Billy Joe Armstrong was quite happy with his. And I went, well, he uses a distorted tone. They must be pretty good. So I got a pair. They look identical on the outside, but in fact, it's two coils facing each other, and they are humbuckers. So there's no giveaway on the outside, but that took care of the hum problem.
Gotcha.
And lots of pedals at first, looking for that magic combination. By the third rehearsal, George thought I was drowning him out. So he went directly to Guitar Center. And I mean, right from rehearsal, he didn't even go home. He went straight to Guitar Center and bought a 40-watt EVH 5150 combo. And when he showed up with that, I went, damn, that sounds good. That is rock. So I went out and got one. Then we had these matching white EVH 5150s. It was kind of cute, like the Bobbsey twins.
Right.
Only thing is, we're both over 21. It's too heavy. So I put off bringing it to rehearsal every chance I got. I got a Black Star, I believe it's called St. James, the lightest tube combo made. And they've cut every possible ounce out of it. And it really is light. But it was the two main sounds that it gets were on either side of what I wanted. This one was too much this, that, the other one was too much that. So I ended up using lots of pedals, and I went through dry bell the engine. Should we get this geeky?
Go ahead, man. Absolutely, sure.
I had a Rev 2, a Rev 3, that purple pedal from, the name escapes me. I'll come up with it later. I had a clone. One of the things that did the best was, I think it's AMI Electronics. Anyway, the original Crunch box, that really did the trick. That plus a little amp distortion. Then, it goes on and on. Once you got the addiction, you're always looking for that next step. I got a Marshall DSL 40 CR, That was perfect. Didn't need any pedals, just the switch it came with. Then it blew up. Apparently I'm one of the few people in the country that's had the CR model blow up. Its predecessor had a lot of overheating problems. They fixed all that, and somehow I got a turkey. So we took it back, and they're sending me a new one. That's what I'm playing through. And sometimes you don't even get to use your own amp. The next gig we're doing is at the Viper Room. They won't let us bring our equipment. We have to play through their sound. What's the damn name? I know it so well. Not Sound City, High Watt. Sorry, High Watt. They have all High Watt on stage.
Right.
And so back to pedals, because I don't know what those particular models are going to do. So I have to cover my ass and have pedals to back me up. But I'll have the Les Paul Special. I haven't deviated from that at all.
Great. And what's George playing?
He's playing his Kramer. Don't know the name of it. Corvette, something like that. It's well, he just loves it, you know. And he's playing through a few more pedals than me. He uses a wah, a Morley wah, and can't remember the name of the pedal. He changes them more than I do. I think he's settled finally. And at tomorrow's rehearsal, I'll probably take a picture of what he's finally settled on. But he's in the same boat as me. He went through a series of amps and had various issues with them. They didn't blow up, just like, nah, that one's not right. This one's not right. So he liked the sound of my Marshall, and so he's going to get one too.
Very good, very good. Well, they had a bunch of songs, obviously. You came into the picture and all the tunes were pretty much written, right?
Pretty much, yeah. A few of them took shape while we were rehearsing for the CD. But yeah, they picked from all different eras and even from different bands that, like Michael Rummans was in either the Yellow Pages or Canyon Club, something. And he came up with Sleeping Giant way back then. And he brought it in to the Hollywood Stars, and we worked it up and kind of molded it more in the to the band the way it is now. But most of them were from previous incarnations. George wrote a song for the album, "Walking with an Angel." It's a great tune. It's kind of a change of pace for the band. It's almost kind of a Stax R&B-ish kind of a song. It's got that kind of Steve Cropper sound to it. And to my utter amazement, the manager of the band, Lauren Molinaire, he suggested to Scott Ferris that he take a stab at Total Control. I never would have suggested that. It seemed like the least likely song ever for a band like the Hollywood Stars. So he told Scott, Scott told me, and went, okay, we'll give it a shot. And it kind of just laid there and died in the rehearsal room. And
I can only imagine what after all those, up-tempo blazing guitar rockers, what you guys tried to, what the hell do we do with this?
Exactly. I mean, I only know one way to play it, at least then. And so I played it the way I know it. And like, it was just, so Lauren, once again, didn't want to give up on it because he was coming to rehearsals and listening. He said, why don't you guys try and pick up the tempo a little, see what you can do. So we tried it like really fast. And it sounded stupid. We tried it somewhere in between, and it just sounded like it couldn't get in the saddle. It couldn't get in the groove. So I went home with it and thought, what can I do with this? And I played it at different tempos, and then I hit on sort of a mid-tempo, and I went, this kind of reminds me of that Paul Westerberg tune that I like so much, "I'm a Dirty Diesel." If you've ever seen it, or you can look it up, it's on YouTube and all the other places. Well, it just had a nice punt, like rolling, kind of right in the middle. uh, let's see if we can do this song like that. And so gave it a try, tried some different tones and decided, whereas the other one was so polite, let's make this one kind of rude. So I changed my guitar tone radically and made it more like just in your face. And in the Stars, that works. Now we have a new take on the song.
Right,
So
right.
that's
Yeah, I don't think that'd work so well, you know, with Marty and the sax and Martha holding the mic right next to it. I don't see you guys doing that.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but it's funny you were mentioning messing around with different tempos and stuff. The first thing that came to my mind was like a bluegrass version of Total Control, played
Oh,
with like a 2/4, ding, 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 ding,
oh,
ding,
yeah,
ta,
way up tempo.
and with a lot of fast picking. And so anyway, that
Yeah.
was my mind movie.
I,
Anyway,
I just bought a mandolin, by the way.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're one step in that big step in that direction.
Yep. When we go unplugged, that's how we're going to do
Call up Bernie and see if he'll give you some lessons.
it. Yeah.
All right. So my next question had to do with how the sessions went with Lauren, and you kind of touched on that, but you know, he was involved with the rehearsals, so he's kind of helping you in an A&R kind of capacity, right?
Yeah,
Develop your
definitely.
material and the repertoire so that it's, you know, ready for prime time, ready to record. And that's pretty cool. What else did he bring to the party as a producer?
Well, Lauren is kind of a kinder, you know, he breezed in, he like suggested the tune. He's telling us that doesn't work, this does work, leave that off. He came to the rehearsals we did a lot of rehearsals for the recording as opposed to live. You know, we really broke it down. And he kind of didn't run the rehearsals, but he would make suggestions like, why don't you just the bass and drums, why don't you guys just run it through? Let me see what's going on there in the middle. You know, he really prepped us. And of course we did the work, you know, but he had different mindset. He's thinking of it coming out of studio speakers and, you know, the virtual tape rolling. He also conjured up the name. We didn't know what to call the damn thing. And he said, well, how about Starstruck? You know, that's perfect. It ties in with, you know, how long it's been, you know, and why are we still doing it?
Yep, yep.
And it has the word star in it, and it was a good choice. So yeah, we did a lot of rehearsal, and we booked the studio time at Kitten Robot, which is a beautiful little studio run by Paul Rossler, who was in the Screamers,
Yep.
big name around town. And he also does play keyboard and wanted to put keyboard in several places that we decided we like it plain, but he got a few things in there. They're subtle. And the amazing thing is, by the second day, we'd had all of the basic tracks done. Boom.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, we were feeling really good by the second day, going, I think we got this one nailed. And by the end of the day, it was done. You know, the next 2 days were just putting vocals on and whatever seemed to be missing. Like there was a little acoustic guitar in the bridge of one thing, and there was a riff that sounded a bit wimpy, so we doubled it, you know, but really minor. I mean, it basically sounds the way the band really sounds.
So all of that pre-production paid off in the studio.
It sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, even things like echo. I mean, you know, we had our pedals set up, and we cut the basic track with the echo already there, coming out of the amp.
Yeah, so you didn't have to fix it in the mix, so to speak.
No, but you know, it's a bit risky because you tend to overdo it, and then you can't take it out.
You
can
can't
always
take
add
it
more,
out.
but you can't take it out. But you know, we'd rehearsed it so many times and listened to the recordings of the rehearsals. We were ready. We were ready.
Now, how many gigs has this configuration played live in front of people?
I think about 3.
About 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to do some road work to support the album.
In theory.
June 14th, and there's a kind of a launch party gig at the Viper Room on the 15th of
Right. Next day, very next day.
2024, for those of us who might or see this 10 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you talked a little bit about using the house equipment, the high watt setup, and taking your own gear to kind of compensate and figure out how to get the right sound. But beyond the Viper Room, what other road work do you guys have in mind to support the album?
Well, in mind, we have going to Europe and Spain. Spain has been really receptive to our recording. We released a couple of tunes right off the bat before the CD is released.
Which ones?
Taxi Driver and Can't Get It Right.
Right. Good. Good
Can't do
choices.
it right. Scott is so mad at me. I always screw that up. It's Can't Get It Right or Can't Do It Right.
Can't do it right.
Thank you. He's going to have my hide.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, we released those, and Spain, internet and radio really likes it. I mean, really likes it. Thousands and thousands of plays.
That's great.
So when the record comes out and is available for purchase and streaming and blah, 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 we'll see what kind of noise it makes over there. And if there's enough to justify, financing it, it costs a lot of money to.
Yeah.
And if it looks like the venues are interested and we could not go broke doing it, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, hook up with a local promoter over there who won't rip you off.
Yeah. Another tip that somebody whispered at me, in fact, once again, I think it was Lauren, the fount of knowledge. He said, most bands make the majority of their money these days off merch.
Yep.
T-shirts, hats, whatever. He said, the trick, though, don't travel with 150 pounds of merch. Get your merch made in Spain from a local, have it delivered, and you also save money, blah, 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 and you make more money. So any band thinking of, going to Europe or going out of the country, get your merch made locally.
Absolutely. And you're supporting the local community in whatever community you're going in. And that's
right.
That's looked upon favorably, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a brownie point for sure.
Yes, most definitely. Well, let me ask kind of the 300-pound elephant question in the room. Okay. We're all of a certain age now. Okay. The age range of the Hollywood stars is what? Middle to mid 60s to mid 70s? Would that be about right?
Yeah, or 60s and 70s.
And you're still rocking.
Yeah.
You're not ready to hang up the guitars.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to quit and it just won't stick.
Why?
Get
what
frustrated,
is it?
Get fed up. The drama of trying to reconcile multiple personalities. Sometimes they're your own multiple personalities. The indifference of the club scene, playing to empty rooms. It just gets tiring. And I had a partner in crime off and on for like 25 years by the name of Graham Daddy, his real name. It's a Scottish name. And we had a series of bands, variations on Roosters, Red Roosters, the Roosters United, Roosters. They were all basically derived from our first bands in the 60s what we loved then, and the reason we bonded over it, is because it was all the British versions of American blues and R&B. The Kinks, the Stones, the Yardbirds, the Pretty Things, the Animals, And we were in band after band after band. And then he started bringing in his originals. And we had this ongoing thing for decades. He got sick and died of cancer fairly quickly. And at that point, I was drifting free and just didn't have any connection to anything. So I quit again. And I thought,
and this is when, give me a time frame after when he passed. How long ago was that?
5 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 6.
All right.
years.
So you're kind of unmoored a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I've probably aged out. There's no upside for somebody my age as a newcomer, and I'm not and can't repeat the Motels. So I thought I would turn to songwriting. And so uh, banged around with it, bought books, and just getting nowhere. So somehow through another home study course, I think the host kept throwing things at us. Here's a guy that can teach you about marketing. Here's a guy that can teach you about microphones. And one of them was, there's a good friend of mine who's starting something brand new. It's an online songwriters academy, a university for songwriting. He says there's nothing else like it. So I joined up, charter member, stayed with him about 2.5 years, and didn't get very far. I just don't have that DNA. I've written some songs, but I'm not a writer in the sense that I write every day or every week. A writer writes all the time.
Yes.
I write upon occasion, and that's not a writer. So in the midst of that, when it came time to renew, I just didn't. And then I was at loose ends. And one by one, I kept getting invited to join bands out of the blue. I played a reunion of an event that took place in 1976 called Radio Free Hollywood. Maybe you heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
legendary.
yeah. So Terry Moreland Henderson, but Moreland then, for years, she's been trying to put together a reunion of that event. She finally pulled it off, and it was way more than the event ever was. The original event was 3 bands, I think, Pop, Dogs, and Motels, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
This
Pop,
thing,
Dogs, and Motels. Right.
yeah, the reunion was basically a reunion of everybody. So there were like 15 bands. It was an enormous event. And at that event, this guy who I knew him from guest shots in other bands, Chris Bailey, said kind of what George Keller said later: why don't you come and see what we're doing, see if you like it? So I went, and that band was playing all nearly forgotten covers of songs that had their day in the sun. Not exactly one-hit wonders, because it might be from bands that went on to do other things, but kind of forgotten songs. I thought that was fascinating. So I'm in. So that's one band. In the middle of the pandemic, I get a cold call from Jeff Wolf of the Furies. Furies were around since the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And although I don't remember it, he says they played double bills with the Motels, and we crossed trails all the time. So that's an all original band. So I joined them. And these 2 bands aren't super active. They rehearse every 2 weeks or sometimes less, gig occasionally. So that made being in 2 bands easy. Then comes the Hollywood Stars. Now, there was a big flurry of activity at first, and I thought, I can never handle this. Then it calmed down, because Scott, the singer, he actually lives in Connecticut. He comes out here frequently, mostly for band things, but it has to be all set up, and the rehearsals have to be booked and ready, and we have to do a lot of them in a week because it costs money and inconvenience to get out here. So for the longest time, it was 3 quiet bands, and it was easy to manage. Now the Hollywood Stars are going great guns, and it's getting tricky. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know.
Well, that's great. I mean, so you've basically kept playing. You found outlets to continue to play.
Yeah.
And
A
here
miracle.
you are.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to your talent, and also to your stamina to still be in the game.
I think it's more the tenacity of the demon. It won't leave me alone. Out
Okay.
damn spot, but nope, it keeps coming back. So, and you talk to older people, even older than me, and they all say the same thing, like I'm still the same me. I'm the same me I was 25. Maybe I learned a few things not to do, but I think the same things. I'm the same person inside. I look like hell on the outside, but it's not like I turned into some kind of completely alternate version of myself. I'm pretty much the way I was.
We're still, 73 going on 18.
25.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeff, I really want to talk with you about Motels and Tom Petty and all of that, but I think we ought to do that in a separate chat, don't you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good for that. Let's do
all right,
that.
let's keep this about the Hollywood stars, and I wish you all the best of fame and fortune with that, and hope you have a good time going to Spain and back. I have some friends over there, so if that happens, I can hook you up with some definitely a fan base. So that's good. Thanks again for a great chat. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Stephen. Bye.
Bye-bye.